Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Tsunami is on the ones and twos. So we're sharing it out there, ladies and gentlemen. Please share our video. We got a YouTube. We got a Twitter. We're on Rockfin. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're doing it all over the place.
Aren't we also on, what's the other thing? Roku?
Rockfin?
Roku.
I don't even know about Roku.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're on Roku sometimes.
Yeah, we are. Sometimes.
Does Roku do live streaming? No.
No, but like our videos thereafter.
All right.
Okay.
You can catch us live over here, though.
Yeah.
Twits and stuff. Periscope, too, I think.
Periscope.
Right? Yeah.
Everywhere.
Let's see who's in here. Let's say hi to some people. Thank you very much to all our...
Can you guys hear me, by the way? Johnny,
testing,
give me
1, 2,
a look.
3.
Okay, good.
All right. Thank you to all our Patreons. We have 66 now, fam.
66. That's
We're moving
awesome.
up.
6 is my lucky number.
Yeah.
It's the devil's number. So
we have 54, 55 climbing now, watching us on the YouTube, Charlotte, NYC. Aaron Sloan, Kathy Panoff. I remember that name. Yasmin Awali. Where's Michael Cruz? Is Michael Cruz in the house? We don't even know. Where's my boy Michael Cruz? Brian McManus is there. And over on the MCSC network, Matau, Chef Momo, Adam Merchant, Maya, Chinese Google Lover, Karen M. We love you. And on the Facebook, Steve Wolbrandt. As always, we love you, Steve.
Thank you for your loyalty.
Oh, I didn't text Ungi. Somebody got to text Ungi. Somebody get on the horn, tell Mike Ungi we're on. Matthew Savella, Greg Chasen, thank you for joining us. Gabriel Ramirez is in the house. Gabriel, we're talking about maybe going to Mexico together. I need to get to a good dentist because I called some dentist over here. I haven't been to a dentist in a while, and it's kind of disgusting, fam, that I got to call and look on Mexico to go to a dentist because the dentist around here was so ridiculously priced.
Medicare for all.
That's it. So we have a great show. Let's get started, fam. We're going to bring it back. We're going to go to the oldies but the goodies. Remember that thing? Remember Come On, Fam?
Yeah, and just to warn you guys, Pasta is going to be saying the F word a lot during this. So maybe brace yourselves because he loves saying this word. No matter how many times I tell him to cut it down, the next game we play, he'll get in trouble for saying more than 10 fams. But this one.
Not this one. We'll get the buzzer out for the next one. It's kind of funny that the F word to us is different than the F word to everybody out there. So let's get starting, okay? Fam. Okay? So after a long drawn-out attempt by to end Donald Trump's presidency through Russiagate, the establishment Dems are at it again, fam. This time, they're threatening, Adam Schiff is threatening to sue the White House over a whistleblower complaint reported to involve the Trump campaign. Now, I'm just going to say this, all right? We have Chelsea Manning in jail. We have Julian Assange in jail, poor Julian. Edward Snowden is in exile. And you want to switch us now from Russiagate to Ukrainegate? I mean, all the MSNBC, they were all over it. Come on, fam. Can we? They have a new scheme. They're at it because you know why? Because they're over there, they're looking into Joe Biden and what he did in Ukraine, and they're trying to suppress the voice again. So now they want to go to Ukrainegate from Russiagate, fam.
And you know what the worst thing is? What happens is the right comes in and they're like, well, what about Joe Biden's dealings with Ukraine, his son, and blah, blah, blah. So then the right is going to hit back, with that. So all that's happening is, again, a little football game of, no, you guys did it. No, you guys did it. And then we're in the middle of an election process where we actually have a chance to replace Donald Trump and vote him out, doing the whole following the American process. Yet people are so hyper focused on impeachment, and the same center left idiots that are so focused in our government on impeachment are the same people that are willing to vote for a neoliberal establishment candidate that is going to lose to Donald Trump. So really, let's be serious. If you want to get Donald Trump out, focus on electing someone in the primary, nominating someone that can actually defeat him. Yeah. Because otherwise, you're just talking out of your butt, and you're.
Is that allowed? Or are we gonna get demonetized for saying the BUTT word?
But it's true, though.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing. And it's symbolic gesture. It really does nothing for the American people. Then we're not discussing policies. We're not discussing actual solutions to the problems many are facing.
And they're trying to shape public opinion right now. They know this stuff is coming out. We talked about it on the show. And I even asked Norman Solomon when I saw him. And I'm like, what'd you hear about the Ukraine stuff? Because we heard a lot of stuff involving Joe Biden's son and removal of certain people in certain positions. And when they got into certain positions in Ukraine, meaning their attorney general, meaning their head of their oil companies, someone got a very big check every month. That's Joe Biden's son. And we reported on this channel. Like, this stuff is going to come out. And when it does come out, Joe Biden is going to get even further in the hole. And let me say, Bobby Boucher, the chickens is coming home to roost because Donald Trump has gotten all the hold of this information and they're going to be releasing it. I heard it on NPR, nice, polite Republicans, that Donald Trump is already saying it's the disgrace what Joe Biden and his son did. And you know what? Whether it's the coming out of Donald Trump's mouth or Pompeo's mouth or whoever's mouth, the truth is the truth. And you can't hide from the truth. And come on, fam. You're not getting away with this establishment tax. Fam, you got the next one.
Okay.
Oh, there's that. Dude, did you see the come on, fam?
Yes,
It hit hard.
I saw it, fam. You're very excited about that. So, Joe Biden. So, many of you know, and this is probably, you guys probably heard this one, that Joe Biden, right around the debates, just did the unthinkable. He actually insinuated that black people don't know how to raise their children, and this was all the rage. People were really offended, obviously, understandably so. He said the teachers have every problem coming to them. It was a really weird, long monologue that made no sense, like his whole entire presence. Mr. Biden continued, we have to make sure that every single child does, in fact, have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school. School, not daycare, school. We bring social workers into homes and parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure you have the record player on at night. So, of course, there was an onslaught of memes and stuff because of this whole weird monologue thing. He honestly reminds me of Donald Trump there, just like the way he says things, repeats it. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I think it's time for Joe to drop out, and I think that's the word that's going to happen. So, come on, fam.
Come on.
Come on.
There it is, Joe Biden. I mean, this is ridiculous. At what point do we keep wheeling this guy out if you're an establishment Democrat and say that this guy is really just an eyesore? He's terrible.
He's a joke at this point, and
I feel sorry for him.
Right, in a way, like
I do.
I feel like the Democratic Party just has him there as a punching bag, the establishment, I mean. And that's all they're doing.
You got a little malarkey going on over there, Johnny? I want to say I liked Joe. When Joe entered this race, I thought he was going to be the number one enemy. And I went after him hard, especially about his stuff on the Iraq, on Iraq and all that stuff. And it just turns out that this guy keeps putting his foot in his mouth. And he's really he reminded me of Robert Mueller. He's like one step away from being Mr. Magoo. Come on, fam. Get out of this thing. Can I go to the next one?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. There go that man again, Donald Trump. So after his little tweet stating that he was locked and loaded and ready to take orders of the Saudis on when to attack when the Saudis come forth and who it is, he does the unthinkable, okay? The Pentagon will deploy U.S. forces to the Middle East after the attack on Saudi Arabia oil facility. So once again, fam, he's doing the bidding of the Saudis. He's the Saudis, BITCH. And it says right here in this article, the Pentagon will deploy U.S. forces to the Middle East on the heels of the Iranian attack on the Saudi Arabian oil facilities. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper announced Fridays. Number one, the Iranians didn't attack the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. The Houthi rebels did. They did it again, and they're not reporting it. The Houthi rebels said we're going to attack again, and they did it again. So they did it before this attack, and they did it after this attack. And it says the president has approved the deployment of U.S. forces, which will be the defensive in nature and primarily focused on air and missile defense, Esper said, adding that the Saudi Arabia requested this support. So, fam, on the heels of the Saudis saying, can you help us out? We're locked and loaded. And even Tulsi exposed your dumb ass. And he said, our troops aren't your prostitute. And you ain't our pimp. And still, you deploy these Saudis to the Gulf. Come on, fam.
And that just goes to show that Donald Trump isn't the anti-interventionist. Again, Tulsi makes sure to constantly point that out. So does Bernie. But I think Tulsi is getting a lot of Republican support too because of people who actually thought Donald Trump, who voted for him because they thought he would be anti-interventionist, and now they're realizing he's not. There is a way to get some of that, some of those people out, because the majority of those people just don't want war. They may not agree with a lot of other things that the left wants, but they really want to stay out of war and they want to keep jobs in America, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So
those are the libertarian-minded people I always talk about on the right, the independents, whatnot. I just talk about that because what we said, like, it's even like Shahid said, anti-establishment kind of coalesces as a progressive in the city, but it's a libertarian in a rural area.
I would describe it more as independents in general.
Yeah, I wouldn't say right.
Libertarian ideology is like a little bit specific, in my opinion. It's more specific ideology. But fam, number 4.
We got number 4, fam?
Yes, we do. Cenk Uygur.
Woo, your favorite fam.
To a lot of people, this may be a surprise, but to people like us and Niko, it's definitely not. So Cenk let out this tweet. He said, sometimes people think we support Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. That's also true. That's because they have the most progressive proposals. It's not personal. No one is better at protecting consumers and challenging bankers than Elizabeth Warren. And does anyone doubt Bernie is progressive line? Okay, first of all, the problem with this tweet is he's equating Elizabeth Warren and Bernie as being the same.
Like he
literally said, no one is better at protecting consumers and challenging bankers. That's a lie. What she did with that was it was entirely symbolic. Occupy Wall Street protesters literally told me it was pretty much a scam. It was like a false like a false shop. Like it wasn't real. It really didn't protect people. And this is what she gets praised on more.
Yeah.
So it's just really obnoxious to hear that. So come on, fam.
Come on.
And also, like, they keep denying and saying that they're not pro Warren when every single person on there is constantly pushing Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, they keep Bernie there because Bernie is a popular one. Like, not supporting Bernie. Why do you guys think all these CNN and MSNBC now news correspondents follow Bernie around? Yeah. They don't follow him around because they believe in his message. They follow him around because it gets them the views, it gets them the notoriety, it gets them the clicks, the money. So we have to differentiate between people who are actually giving you the information because they think it's good, or people who are using Bernie for clout, which is an unfortunate result. But either way, if you want to expand Bernie's message, I don't care what your reason is. But the reality is these people are saying that they're unbiased when that's just obviously not the case.
So many times they'll say, I support progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and then go on in their thing. And let me just debunk this whole friggin' myth that Elizabeth Warren is great when it comes to Wall Street and this whole symbolism we talk about, these symbolic gestures she makes, never policy behind it. Tulsi Gabbard does in fact have a bill that says that we need to reinstate Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall is one of the most important things when it comes to banking and the Wall Street regulations. It allows, it makes sure it keeps intact commercial real estate from commercial funding and finance from individual financing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't mix them together. In other words, they can't take your money and risk it in the commercial sector. Okay? Tulsi has legislation that reinstates that. Elizabeth Warren does not.
Yeah.
Okay? And that in Glass-Steagall, just look it up. It's one of the most important and part of getting, there it is, right there. It's the most important part of getting Wall Street back in line, is making sure that they can't mix in funds when it comes to individuals and commercial. And it's how a lot of the crashes, it tails right back into this. If Glass-Steagall was in place, but guess who removed Glass-Steagall, fam? Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Warren going around with Hillary Clinton. Please, come on, fam.
And
you ain't fooling nobody.
And the CFPB was a way to also get Dodd-Frank passed as well. So a lot of the support that she's gotten is, again, it's not just fair, just based on that. And nobody else can name anything else policy-wise. Like, you ask her supporters, again, they can't ever name it. So that's just the reality of how that is.
Krillin 876, a super chat contribution. Thank you so much over in the MCSE network YouTube. He says, Joe sounds more like Leslie Nielsen from The Naked Gun. He does. I said Mr. Magoo. He said Leslie Nielsen. If you don't know who Leslie Nielsen is, I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. He was the great just actor, The Naked Gun. He's got that white hair. He's always got that serious face. Leslie Nielsen does a lot of slapstick stuff. Airplane, The Naked Gun. all that stuff. That's Leslie Nielsen. And Joe Biden does sound like that. And, it's so funny because a lot of things that are out there, like parody stuff, like The Onion had this report about Saudi Arabia making fun of it like 4 months ago, and it almost came true. Like, the craziness is almost we're actually living it out. So, yes, Joe Biden does sound like he's Leslie Nielsen. Over up on the Facebook, thank you so much, Matthew Savella. Lauren Steiner is here. Bullshit. Warren had the bill first, introduced in 2017. How can you call yourself a journalist if you don't know this?
What bill?
In 2017.
What are you talking about? She's talking about Glass-Steagall?
Yeah. There goes Lauren Steiner.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay, let's go over to the next one.
I'll look it up, Lauren.
We'll look it up.
I'll respond to you.
There's PDD over on our Convo Couch YouTube for $10. Thanks for the work. Rock on. 2017, Lauren.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to Ro Khanna because, as many of you know, Tulsi put up a post that said, I want to welcome the Prime Minister Modi, and I don't know if you can pull up the tweet so Pasta can read it. But basically she put out this tweet that just kind of said, I want us to work together and achieve peace, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, a lot of people didn't find that really to be a great tweet, understandably so. I, for one, would have advised her not to post something like that. I know where she's coming from. She's a logical thinker. Pasta, if you want to read it. She's a logical thinker. So
it says, aloha and namaste. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to India Prime Minister Modi on his latest visit to the United States. Glad to see so many Indian Americans from all across our country, as well as many of colleagues in Congress coming together there. Tulsi 2020.
Okay, so she didn't meet with him. She simply extended him a welcome, but she also said something else. I don't know if that was the right tweet, about working together and achieving peace in one of the largest democracies that we have. So India obviously is a huge democracy, and they have so many people here who are supporters of Modi. And of course, you saw the rally that Donald Trump had with Modi. With
Howdy Modi.
Yeah. Now, Tulsi didn't attend that event, but she's also not. I would say, like, she's not vilifying either side on this issue, because she is looking at this as a diplomat. If I'm running for POTUS, I want to make sure I can work with both the Pakistani people and the people who support Modi, even if she doesn't agree with them. The reality is it's a very complex issue. I've myself spoken to multiple friends of mine that I've asked them, like, so what do you guys think on this issue? And they're like, this has been happening for a long time. They're like, why is it coming into play now? They don't know why all of a sudden Americans are all of a sudden like obsessed with India's foreign policy, why all of a sudden everybody's an expert, why all of a sudden like it's a big deal, because to them, like, this has been happening forever and it's never been a solution. It's always been like the Muslim versus the Hindu thing. It's kind of like our race issues here in America. So to kind of put all of that on simply someone that is willing to extend, like, what do you say, like a peace offering is a little bit much. And I want to point out the hypocrisy of people attacking Tulsi, because while I may not agree with her post, because I think that was a bad move tactically, but I think Pasta has another opinion on that too, like why she did that. But Ro Khanna in 2015 was actually very pro-Modi during this time, and they asked him to clarify. He deleted this tweet, by the way. He deleted the tweet before that when people started coming at him. But he basically said that I did not attend the protest because, again, in 2015, there were Modi protests, and the report that was issued was fabricated. And then this person says, thanks for the clarification. It does say that you emailed AGA a letter of support. Can you release a copy of that? And he said, also, I issued a welcome video for Prime Minister Modi. I attended both the luncheon and the SAP Center event, not protest. So he's over here pandering to, the Modi supporters, acting like, okay, look, I made a video for him. He made a video for him. He attended the luncheon. And during this time, and we've talked about it before in the show, he was also taking money from a lot of the RSS supporters, and nobody really batted an eye then, right? But now all of a sudden, Tulsi does half of what he does and just simply talks about diplomacy and working together, and all of a sudden she is she just hates the Kashmiri people. She hates Muslims. She's this sort of fascist, and it's a little unfair. I think, like, if we're gonna hold her accountable, if we're even gonna say that that's wrong, then you have to see the pandering of Ro Khanna going from whatever's convenient was convenient then to now. And I think now he's just placating to the center because he wants to maybe have a position in some sort of part of the Congress.
Doesn't he want to run for senator?
Possibly. I mean, I think that's a possibility. And I think that that's what we're seeing here. He's pandering to the left on foreign policy. Well, not even the left, I'm sorry, the center. I would say he's pandering to the center. This is a very complex issue, and I think a lot of people have jumped on emotionally to support one side or the other, but I think we need to hear people from both ends. We need to hear the Pakistani side. We need to hear the Indian side. We need to understand, be more educated on the complexities and nuances that are going on, because the reality is Modi has done awful things as well. But we are also Americans, and we don't know the foreign policy on the ground. And I think we oftentimes just react because the media tells us, this is what you need to do. You need to stand against this. Yeah. And sometimes doing that, you're alienating a whole lot of people who think you're an idiot because you don't understand what's actually going on, and you're getting sound bites.
I think, people, they keep staying in their echo chamber. They don't get out of it and whatnot, And a lot of people, they understand the geopolitical ties, and I understand it's a really tough thing because you don't want to stand by and have anybody that's you supports any type of serious nationalism or fascism whatsoever. I don't want anybody to get
And the fact that he's aligning himself with Trump is also like, okay, that's obviously problematic, but you have to understand, like, that's one element of it. How do we win people over? How do we win, like, a lot of the Indian Americans who support Modi by trashing on their country and their politics? We should stay out, period. I think that's been the mistake on both ends, including even Tulsi, including Bernie, that they've taken a side or at least taken some sort of, I don't know, stance on it. And the problem with that is now, like, people are going to assume, like, oh, you're on this side or that side without actually, them fully understanding what is the situation.
Yeah.
And it just alienates when people are on one side or the other.
As heads of states, you want our leaders talking to these people. We can't hide them. We can't just shun people away and put a wedge in between diplomacy. We need that. And, whether we like it or not, whether you like Xi Jinping, whether you like Narendra Modi, whether you like Vladimir Putin, it doesn't help you to go over there and bastardize them as a leader and then try to build bridges with them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a couple. We've seen that. And obviously, I think from a geopolitical and a campaign standpoint, I mean, Donald Trump went to that Modi thing, and he was pandering to those people for votes because it's a big voting block. You know what I'm saying? I know there was a lot of anti-Modi protests outside. They were big. They were peaceful. I'm glad it wasn't filled with a lot of social justice warriors. It was actual Muslims and Kashmiris who had signs that said Kashmiri lives matter. And this is an issue. As journalists, we're going to keep talking to people and keep looking into it. I have a couple guests lined up from that region that I'm very looking forward to, not just one side. I'm trying to get the whole side, and we want to get multiple opinions because we want to understand what's going on. But if you look at it from a geopolitical standpoint, you cannot ignore the fact that a lot of people feel that Pakistan has themselves aligned with the Saudi government. Right. And the Saudi government is the one government that I want us to go in and get rid of. That's a true monarchy where women don't have rights, where they behead people in the streets. So when you see the situation of people putting flags in the ground, you have to also remember the mentality of India and Pakistan and how the general public feels about Pakistan as well. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I completely agree, and I think and of course people are going to say, oh, you're no one's defending Modi here. No one is even defending Tulsi or what she did, but to me she didn't really do much other than say hi, like, welcome, I hope we can talk, and that's it. And then she dipped out. And I think it's important. I think we've gotten so used to us being aggressive and us being like, no, this person's bad, this person's good. And a lot of the times that's been fake, like regarding Maduro in Venezuela. We call him a brutal dictator when that is simply not the case. And you can go to Gray Zone and you can go to all these great people like Max Blumenthal and Aaron Matei who covered Venezuela really well, and really look at that deep on the ground. But the reality is a lot of what we're told isn't valid in regards to us involving ourselves in these other countries. And I think we should just not involve ourselves at all. I think this is just a mistake involving ourselves and having to take a stance on every single issue that is going on in the world. I think that's actually hurting us more than anything.
Yeah, and these groups, these United Nations and these other types of organizations that we've tilted the scales, that where our opinion matters so much more than everybody, they should just be deleted, because they're not really going to have a lot of say universally. And people are going to pay attention to it, because really, to tell you the truth, they're just so one-sided. But if we allow these groups to go in there and we just, United Nations, let them make decisions without weighing our opinions upon it for our foreign policy needs and our ways, it would mean a lot more. We can let a third party go in there and say, hey, okay, United Nations is in there. They're saying there's a human rights issue. Now we can get involved. But we can't. We've just tilted the playing field.
Well, that's
so
the
much.
thing. Like we talk about human rights issues, and just before we move on, I just want to say we talk about human rights issues, but we don't care about what's going on in Palestine. We don't care about Yemen. We don't even care about the people in Flint.
Yeah.
Really, human rights issues like that. Let's stop putting that as the excuse to get involved. It's
have
all
no moral high ground.
manipulated politics. That's all it is. And the reality is, a lot of people kind of just get tricked into falling into that whole football.
We have no moral high ground, fam. I agree with you 100%. Let's get on to your boy Nasty Nate.
So Nasty Nate.
You should call him Nasty Nate.
Nasty. Okay, so Nate Silver, not to be confused with Nate Sliver, the parody account, which is awesome.
Yes.
This man's disgusting. Like, seriously. So he went on and started posting all these statistics that basically showed Elizabeth Warren leading, Bernie Sanders losing support, Bernie Sanders not having support of people of color, which is entirely false. He has the most support aside from Biden. And Nate Silver said, not sure Bernie should get credit for having more diverse support than last time, given that he has far less support than last time. So he's saying he shouldn't be credited for having more diverse, people of color support, because he has less support now, which is probably false. A lot of voters have left him. White liberals have been particularly likely to leave him. Of course they have. For Warren. So the residue of what's left is more diverse. So the residue of what's left is more the residue. I'm not saying he's a racist, but I am saying this comment was completely tone deaf and racist in its own term. And even if it wasn't, it is stupid to say that the people that the diverse base Bernie has is just residue. It is just nothing. It is just the most minimum thing you can possibly think of. And that is what he did. And of course that set off a lot of people, including Nina Turner. Everybody just went at him. And he then proceeds to go talk about, put another way, Sanders is doing worse among blacks and Hispanics in 2016, but he's doing much worse among whites, among who overperformed. He overperformed last time. That's a sense in which his support is now more diverse, not as actually having made contacts with other voters of color. Okay, so he continues to do that because he's kind of pretty much an idiot. And he then, where is it? Okay, so he then says, I honestly think the annoyingness of certain candidate supporters on Twitter prevents other reporters / analysts from pointing out that said candidate's campaign obviously isn't going that well. This dig I was at Bernie and Tulsi both, because Bernie and Tulsi supporters are very active on Twitter.
It's in the folder.
So it's they're completely they're always there to counteract and kind of ratio these people. So I just want to point out how tone deaf he is, and how he's just completely in denial of the popularity of Bernie, how he's the most popular politician in the country right now, and how he's garnering all these votes, as well as dismissing people like Tulsi, who are also building a grassroots movement, who, by the way, is 6th or 5th in Iowa, depending on the polls.
Yeah.
And, people discount her. And also, just the fact that he is so condescending and he continues to promote these manufactured mainstream narratives. It's kind of ridiculous. So when we started talking about the same, you know, with the Working Families Party, they turned it around and claimed that we were all racist, sexist, Bernie bros yet again.
Mm-hmm.
The same people claiming that racism against them and Warren said this. So this tweet here by the general. I'll give okay. Yes, the Bernie campaign is going full MAGA / deplorables right now, and it is a sad sight to see. Imagine adding negative connotation to a word and then labeling yourself and other people of color in your coalition as such. I'm sure this will hurt Nate Silver in the polls. So they're completely dismissing these attacks, but if it had been the other way around, imagine like someone like Brianna Joy Gray, residue of Elizabeth Warren supporters.
Yeah,
oh my God, the outrage that would happen, right? So Brianna is one of my favorite people on not only on Twitter, but on Bernie's campaign. To me, she is the one that's right on the money in regards more than anybody on that campaign as to how to look at things and how to proceed. And she comes from, obviously, she's a journalist, so she has the ability to see the big picture. And she said, under Bernie's Workplace Democracy Act, this is where she changed her name to Residue for Bernie, by the way. Warren's campaign would be subject to compulsory mediation for failure to reach a collective bargaining agreement. There is only one campaign that has put its money where its mouth is, WRT Organized Labor, Bernie 2020. So she's talking about how Warren recognized her union but doesn't have a union contract. And she's calling that out, which I have not seen anybody in Bernie's campaign ever even directly compare much to Warren and Bernie, which is entirely what they should be doing, differentiating themselves between Warren and Bernie. And then, can you?
Yeah, just don't.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then this isn't the right one. Let me pull it up. Give me
the second one. Yeah.
Okay. So then she also said, differentiated between Bernie and hers and Warren's stance on housing. Because Bernie, of course, as you know, released a housing plan.
That's the one, Johnny.
And then she said, I don't understand why anybody gives... This is quoting Warren herself. She's so smart. She said, I don't understand why anybody goes to all the trouble of running for president of the United States just to talk about what we really can't do and shouldn't fight for. Elizabeth Warren said this. But this is what Elizabeth Warren is saying now, if we can play it.
Writing a rent control plan in Washington may work for Chicago, but it's not going to work for Iowa City, or it may not work for Dallas. Writing a rent control plan in Washington.
I'm just trying to find out where our Facebook went.
Okay. So she pretty much is saying she's not for rent control, right? She's not, because it can be different depending on the state you live in. But that's, I mean, obviously the amount is going to be different. The rent prices are going to be different. California versus Iowa, you're not going to have, you know, we're paying a lot more for rent here than in Iowa. That's a fact. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have rent control. But I wanted to point out the reason Elizabeth Warren isn't for rent control is because she believes in markets. She believes in capitalism. She believes that the market should dictate what goes up and down. That's the bottom line difference between her and Bernie Sanders. She's going to operate according to capitalist markets. Bernie Sanders is not. And when you think about it that way, there is no true, oh, maybe she's okay, maybe not. It's one or the other. Like, either you're going to go through the same system and really not fix the problem because you're just going to put band-aid solutions, or you're actually going to completely dishevel the system and build something new and actually address the concerns of working people.
Yeah. Does Bernie Sanders believe in rent control?
Yeah.
Across the board, pretty much?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
So why isn't Elizabeth Warren copying him here? She usually copies him on everything else. Why'd she stop here?
Because this has to do with the economics of it. This is a difference. This is where she's shifting because she understands.
Is she signaling to the landlords?
She has a lot of investments in real estate.
Ooh. So she signals to the health insurance for her daughter's investments. Mm-hmm. She signals to the landlords when it comes to rent control. Got it.
Yeah, she has
Elizabeth Warren being Elizabeth War and
real estate investments. And so when people like Lauren tell me like Elizabeth Warren is still progressive, no, she's not. Not even close. So I'm just going to read the 2 tweets, Johnny, if you just want to put them up.
Fiorella's. Oh, you almost got 9,000 Twitter followers now, fam. You're really following up. Let's go. Let's be honest.
So let's be honest, okay, you guys. If Elizabeth Warren were progressive, she wouldn't be welcome to be president of the United States. Let me just quickly, like, Tulsi and Bernie, they were not welcomed when they ran for president, right? She wouldn't be propped up by the mainstream media. She wouldn't be celebrated by Third Way or pushed by Wall Street. She wouldn't be courted by lobbyists. And this actually applies if she were Native American also.
Yeah. Neera Tanden wouldn't be supporting her.
Yeah, Neera Tanden wouldn't be like in love with her like she
Somebody
is.
said that the other day on a show.
It's so ridiculous. It's so obvious. Oh, was it stuff?
Yeah, she said that. She says if Neera Tanden's supporting you,
you run away.
I'm not supporting you.
Seriously. And then Elizabeth Warren, and this is kind of just surmising what I just said, doesn't support national rent control because she believes in markets. That's the bottom line. She'll put economic theory and the same tried and tired capitalist tools before working people's needs. We can't fix the problem with the same mechanisms that led to it. So that's pretty much the bottom line. If you want to know the difference between Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, that is what makes Elizabeth Warren not somebody that's actually going to listen to working people. She's just saying what she needs to say to get through the primary. And once come the general, she's going to take the huge money. She's already funneled it into her Senate campaign, but it's going to get worse. And she's already signaling to real estate developers because without rent control, we really these people can do whatever they want. We have no protections. And then also regarding Medicare for all, everything. She's not a real progressive. And people need to stop equating her to Bernie Sanders and do what they should have been doing from the beginning, separating her policies from Bernie Sanders. I'm not going to focus too much on the Native American thing, even though that's really disingenuous. Honestly, It's really disrespectful. But the reality is her policies are all a facade, a superficial top layer of Bernie's, and she isn't really going deep in the specifics. And when candidates don't go deep in the specifics, it's because they want to be able to kind of have wiggle room there to pretty much go the other way.
Dude, everybody in the chat agrees. Oh, damn. Wait, sorry. They're talking about somebody else who paints herself into a corner, not mentioning her name. She's all over her chat. Maybe she wants to change her behavior. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much, Saul, Adam Nation, I Nuke Wales. Michael Cruz. Michael Cruz is in the house. I love you, Michael Cruz. We got to get you a shirt. We don't have your size. We're waiting for your size. I promise that. Everybody look in the mail. There was 4 people we mailed out some shirts to, some of our Patreons. If we didn't mail out your shirt, we don't have your size. We get your size in, then we'll mail out your shirt. But be on the lookout.
And if you're a girl, these shirts are cute because they're V-necks.
You wore it the other day.
And I wore it the other day. I freaking love the V-neck shirts.
PDD says, you're killing it, Fee. You're killing
Thank
it.
You, PDD.
Cannabis Sativa says, capitalist to her bones when it comes to Elizabeth Warren. Karen M says, Tony, good, Tony. It's great to see you. Just saying hi to somebody else in our chat. That's what I love about our chat. They know each other. Squids McCracken is in the house. We love you, and thank you for the super chat contribution from our man, Pete D. Thank you so much. We can really use that over on the MCSE network. Deep Space, Zcon, Jana Kelton, Keen James. Thank you so much to Leicester, dude, Bob TV. Hey, Bob TV, we love you. We watch your stuff. If you haven't seen Bob is Bernie or Bust TV. Thank you for tuning on in. Yes, Bob TV, we'd love to do a show with you, a little Skype. You come on our show, we come on your show. Email us at theconvocouch@gmail.com. If y'all like to see Bob and the Convo Couch, Bob TV, Bernie or Bust TV do a nice show together, let us know. We'd love to do it. Who's on the Facebook, fam? Oh, Lauren Steiner is still there. Hi, Lauren. Rocky Bellinger. Who else do we have? Gabriel Ramirez, Gabriel MacArthur, Jeffrey Denton. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Thank you for Matt Savella and all our other Patreons. We're growing. Thank you so much.
Microsoft Tech Support.
Thank you, Microsoft Tech Support.
I just want to re-emphasize something that earlier we were talking about the establishment Democrats, and they were going off about the whistleblower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to re-emphasize that they were going off on this whistleblower because it involves Trump, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have the Chelsea Manning, who is in jail again and could face up to 18 months behind bars despite facing no criminal charges. And then Julian Assange, who is advised to stay in prison after the jail sentence ends over extradition fears. And then when I was looking up Julian Assange articles, this one came up. It came out today, and somehow for some reason Pamela Anderson says that Julian Assange has been psychologically tortured in the London prison. So
I'm sure
maybe that's
Well,
something
they got all that information out. They talked
into.
about it.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about whistleblowers. So you got Adam Schiff over there say he's going to Donald Trump administration for not allowing this whistleblower to come forth in a certain fashion. And I looked into this case a little bit. It's the same old shit again. It's like they're moving from one thing to the other. And they're also trying to kind of curve the public opinion of what comes out of Joe Biden, what he did in the Ukraine. And he was playing both sides. He was very coup-friendly over there. And if you look into the Ukraine story, it's kind of crazy.
and he was.
Yeah.
He was.
He got
But
caught with
that's-
his hand in his cookie jar, fam. Sorry.
But that's the thing, like the hypocrisy of talking about whistleblowers when you guys are helping jail and torture the ones who told the truth to the American people. But just because it's not politically convenient for you, then you're not going to do anything about that. But you want to make a whole ordeal about this?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
We got 2 super chats.
Oh, 2 super chats.
Oh, where is that? In the YouTube Convo Couch?
Sweet.
Thanks for your work. Rock on. Wow, look
Thank
at this
you.
one. There's another. Hey, Learned Hand. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. Hey, Learned Hand. When
Thank
you give
you.
us this $15, when you give us this super chat, it all goes into one pot, and we say, what can we do to expand the show and make it better? We're really proud of the work we're doing over here, and we're really happy that we have people like you really giving to us on our Patreon, on these super chats, now that we've become eligible, because we want to do more, and we want to put it into play, don't we, fam? We want to be more than just commentary. We want to continue to get out in the field and talk to people.
Yeah.
We want to continue to moderate debates if we can.
Bring the news that the corporate media doesn't bring you.
Exactly.
So we are, we got invited to
This one. Martin
take that one
Kleinschmidt.
first.
Martine Kleinschmidt, keep up the fight against the corporatist Warren. And let me tell you something. We're not the only ones who've seen this. There's a lot of people out there who are talking the difference. Kyle Kalinske, Jimmy Dore, all these other people are talking about it. We got the same mind on over here. Sorry. We've lost a few of them. Sorry. I don't want to say who's fighting for Warren. I don't want to say her name, but painting herself into a corner.
So somebody in my chat was like, Emma needs to do a leave Warren alone video. I'm like, she pretty much did already. Remember the leave Britney alone videos? Leave Britney alone. Yeah, something like that. Another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Erwin Italian says $10.
Thank you, Erwin.
I don't know what that means, but
We appreciate
He
you.
did a $2 super chat to say $10.
say $10. We love you, Erwin. Thank you so much. Anything you give us, we love, we respect it. We put it into
absolutely.
play.
So I just wanted to quickly say we've been invited to Politicon to attend his media, and we're trying to go with Niko. So we're going to be doing some shows to kind of fundraise for that and help us get there with the flights and the stay. And we want to go as a fam. Obviously, we want to all be able to go. So we're excited to make that happen. And I'm not really a huge fan of Politicon because it's a bunch of neoliberals and just establishment type of pundits, right? But Niko was saying he wants to find Anna, Pasta wants to find Jank, and I want to find Emma.
They made a little
and
video the
debate
other day.
them.
They were crying about us. They didn't really, what I'm saying? We don't want to give them much attention, but they're crying about us. They hear us coming. Yeah.
I would absolutely love to debate these people. I would absolutely have no problem debating them. I would welcome it. I think we need to welcome different ideas. I'm all for it. But the reality is, a lot of the times they just won't do it. So
Yeah.
anyway, but we're going to let you guys know more about that because we will be trying to raise funds to make that happen.
Guys, go over to Rockfin. It's so important. As we keep going down this rabbit hole, as we keep moving along, you're right, Rocky. She is a neoliberal, Warren. Warren is a neoliberal. And she stinks on foreign policy. So if your excuse is, I really don't care too much about foreign policy, then you're really not a progressive. Because if you're a progressive, you have to care about foreign policy. Because if we're in this monetary system, how can we have nice things if we're spending all this money on war? There's no money left over for anything else. So where you can take that answer and stuff. Our foreign policy matters. My boy said that at the C-Dam, at the K-Dam. He yelled it loud. Foreign policy matters. That's right. Johnny Sue said it loud in the building. Love him.
Yeah. At the Bernie party.
Yeah, but go over to our Rockfin, okay? If you're guys about raging against the machine, listen, I'm not going to start sitting here and crying about the problems of Google, YouTube, Facebook, what they're doing, how they're doing it. I can just tell you this much. The CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, is a big, big Clinton donor. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to suppress the progressive and libertarian voices. And they're suppressing the right-wing voices. We spoke out against when they suppressed Alex Jones. Because even though we don't like what he has to say, we don't want any censoring of speech whatsoever.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. So go over to Rockfin. It's a way of raging against the machine because even the content creators, they get a piece of the pie. It is a blockchain. It is a cryptocurrency. But, hey, this is the way of going around Wall Street. You got to get involved. And if something catches, and it catches good, it's going to really change the way we do things because censorship is going to go away with groups like Rockfin. Sorry, fam.
No.
And you know what's crazy is that the censorship is just blatant because our subscribers hasn't moved from 25,900, but on another page on the YouTube studio, it says we have more subscribers. We have 2,600.
How many does it say we have now? Does it say we have over 26,000?
Let me double check.
I mean, because here's the thing.
26,000, not 100.
Well, the whole thing is they have up 25,900, and that number has been frozen, and people in front of me have subscribed, and boom, and it's still frozen.
It's still frozen.
You know what I'm saying? It's still frozen.
Same thing with Niko. Same thing. Niko's stuck at what?
40-something.
40-something, whatever.
45.9.
But, we go into this group. We go into this blacklist. They create them. We talk about certain things. They don't want us talking about it. Boom, we're in there. Epstein, don't want us talking about it. You know what I'm saying? You say the word establishment too much, don't want us talking about
War.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 2 super chats. JJ 44 Soul Studios, $5 super chat. Says,
Thank you, JJ.
Congrats on the Politicon invite. Go give them hell.
Thank you,
yeah.
JJ.
You know it. I'm going to be tweeting, but speaking.
We'll be live tweeting.
I don't know how that works, but
yeah, if we get there and we go there, there'll be a camera, there'll be mics. We'll get in people's faces. We'll ask them questions.
For sure.
We'll see there and stuff like that. My question is to the TYT: did the $20 million check affect you? Yes or no? Because the one thing we learned as progressives in 2015 is that you have to follow the money. So we followed the money. And did that have any effect on your reporting whatsoever, or they just give you that $20 million and are we to expect? Just like Hillary Clinton, get that money from Wall Street that has no effect? That's my question for you. Okay? You want to sit there, you want to cry about stuff? Answer the question. Why did you take that money? Why should we trust you now? Sorry.
And again, if Bernie can do it, he can be publicly funded by small donors, and Tulsi can do the same, and progressives can do the same then.
Yeah. Sammy Escalamilla.
Thank you,
Or
Sammy.
Scalamilla, depending if he's Italian or Latin. Politicon, Rage Against the Machine.
Whoop!
Whoop.
All right, you gotta go.
She's got to go. Fam's got to go. I got to go. We got to go. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella Isabel.
Johnny Sue on the 1s and 2s.
Come
He
on,
just
fam.
hit that. Come on, fam. Thank you. This is the Dolphin. Go like, share, subscribe. Go to our Patreon. We love you all. Thank you.
Bye. Convo out.
Peace.